Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Dan Carlicchio. I want to welcome you to Destination Health Podcast, Finding Function in a Dysfunctional World. I want to thank everybody listening today. Our podcast is growing, and it grows because we have the best guests on our podcast. And we were truly blessed today to have Kelly Nyokis. I said that correctly.
You did.
So, Kelly, welcome to our show today. You know what? I'm very excited about today's conversation, and I have a bunch of questions for you. And just welcome.
Awesome.
Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's all good. So, Kelly was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Are you a Steelers fan?
Yes, I am.
All right, I'm a Giants fan, so we won't discuss football then. Until the age of 10. You were very active and you were sporty. You were a tomgirl, but you had your girly side too. 2 older brothers and sisters, younger brother. Football was always on TV, always playing sports outside. That's where your love for athletics started. You were involved in dance, which I find fascinating. Ballet, tap, jazz, and point. Did you go to Point Park in Pittsburgh? Because that's like one of the best. That's like one of the best dance schools in America.
No, but my dance instructor, she was very involved with the dance caravans, and we would go to these big dance caravans where you like travel on a bus and you take your whole team and you go there and you try out for to get picked up for different like Broadway School of Dance and all that. And there was one when I was like 10 that I actually did, and you learn the routine and within like an hour, and then they just have the numbers on you, almost like, America's Got Talent, but it's a bunch of people performing the same routine. And you have all these judges, like about 13 judges up there looking for who they want to give a scholarship to. And I actually did win a scholarship.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. Out of like 200 some girls. I know it's like pretty pathetic to bring that up, but
no, you know what? It says here, you're competitive. You're a performer. You like to perform.
I am a performer. I have pictures. I don't even know where it comes from. I don't know where it comes from.
All right. You're going to send some of those pictures because when we do our next show, we're going to post
them. It's super cute because you'd be like, unless you can't even see it in a magazine. I'm talking like when I was like 5, my mom would take like these school pictures of us. She put us in the hallway and she like dressed us up in our new school clothes, and I would just like start doing like these faces. Like I was like, I don't even know where it came from because that's
supermodel. You were a supermodel back then, right? You were, you were striking that pose, right?
My dad was always a ham though. My dad always, he was like a jokester. He liked to be, he liked to make you laugh. He was always like willing to do stuff to, call attention to himself. I don't know. I think I have a little bit of my dad in me.
It like does that, because if you're dancing and you're, I was going to say singing, you're not singing because I can't sing. So you don't want to hear me do that. So if you're dancing, you're on stage, you are a performer. You've always said that you're thinking, analyzing, learning, and improving. U.S. Marine, okay, 4 years as an aviation ordnance woman. I love that. I really do love that. Thank you very much for your service. We're going to discuss the Marines.
You're welcome.
And then after the Marine Corps, you started to get involved into the bodybuilding and so forth. So tell us, kind of a tomboy, but you're still girly. You like sports. You like going around. Yeah. You like playing. And you were dancing. What was your favorite sport when you were growing up, and what did you like to play?
Well, I would say, me and my brother would play hockey, and he was kind of violent with me, my little brother, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And, we would play volleyball outside. All my siblings would play volleyball, and we'd have like these little, fun tournaments. We'd play baseball. We had this big backyard, and sometimes I'd be playing out there. It was like, a dress. It was just so crazy because, and then I was like the little girl. I also loved to play in the dirt. So we would come in and me and my brother would be like covered in dirt and my mom would be like, what did you do?
Kelly, what's
And I
going
didn't
on
I didn't want to
here?
take it back yet. I was like, I'm not done playing outside. I just want to keep playing outside in the dirt.
That's
I
great.
mean, I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
great. So tell me, what motivated you to go into the Marines? What was that deciding factor?
Okay, so I was really, I mean, I was a good student. I had, I was honor student, and I would have gone to college. I would have really wanted to go into like psychology
Mm-hmm.
and possibly something in the medical field, like nursing. And then I ended up making the decision because my high school sweetheart at the time was going into the Marine Corps. And I
You were going to
decided
follow him. You were
that
going to follow him in, right? You were following him just to make
no,
sure.
no, no. So what happened was I went with him to the pulley meetings. They were called pulley meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I would go there with the recruiters, and they were like, this, I would hang out there when he was there, and they're like, well, you should join. And I was like, no, no, no. He wants to do it, and I was running a lot at the time, and I was, just kind of like, I don't know, getting out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a year older than my high school sweetheart. So I had already graduated when he was going in. So as he was going through the process, it was kind of motivating to watch him, go through it. And then I'm thinking, I'm only 19 right now. So, I have plenty of years to go to college, and Marine Corps is going to pay for education and everything. So I figured that I would serve the country, get the crazy discipline, because being there, they talked about how it's the elite, like
Mm-hmm.
it's the elite branch and all that. And I was just like, the challenge itself. And they're like, do you want to be like crash fire rescue? You seem like you want an active job. My recruiter was an aviation ordnance. So he basically convinced me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when my ex went to his boot camp, I went to his graduation, and I was sold. It was
That
like,
was it.
I
Right.
can't even explain to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it was like watching the process kind of was like, it almost kind of gave me a detour on my original plans, but I really was just intrigued by the whole thing. And
Right.
my brothers were in the Army, my dad was in the Navy, and here comes a little girl
Here
going
comes
in the
here
Marine
comes
Corps. Like, it's
here
so
comes
random.
Kelly. Here comes
Yeah.
Kelly, and she's going to follow the family and all of that.
But she's gonna do something completely out of the norm. Yeah.
Right.
That's
And that's okay. So it seems like you're out of the norm. It seems like you like to, you like that challenge and you like to move forward
I
with
do.
that challenge, which I think is great. And I mean, and you're in good company. I've had former special forces on our podcast, and from all different branches of the
Right.
military. So they, we have a good time, and we talk about some fun stories afterwards, but we'll do that after the podcast.
Right.
So what was the main thing that came out of the Marine Corps for you? What did you learn?
I learned that you cannot control things that are out of your control.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot control things. You can only control how you react to things. You can't control what happens to you. That's what I learned. Because there was a lot of times we would do things, especially like 9/11, because I served during 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
That was like hurry up. They call it hurry up and wait. Like we would hurry up to do all this stuff and to like scramble to do like all these different things and clean this gear and put this together so we can ship it overseas and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, there was no rush. Like there was no rush. And this is something that a lot of military people will tell you. It's like, hurry up and wait. It's like all this practice you do here on the state side, before you actually go to war. It's kind of like a whole practice run, just to make sure that you're ready to, if you were activated, to actually go and do what you have to do,
Right, I understand.
So, yeah. So I think that it teaches you tact. It teaches you patience,
Mm-hmm.
like extreme patience. And I can handle a lot of stress and compartmentalize things a lot different than other people can. So,
Right. And it says here in my show notes that it challenged you to look at your weaknesses and focus on you becoming a woman. So you looked at your weaknesses and you were able to overcome whatever weaknesses mentally and physically that you can have, right?
Yes.
So give us a recent example where this training came into play for you. Ooh, that was a curveball, right?
Oh, no, it wasn't at all. Because, what do you mean, the Marine Corps?
No,
you mean
no,
the Marine Corps?
no. My question. So your military training, your Marine training,
right?
How did you use it in a recent situation where you were weak or that you needed to call upon that in order to get over what you were going through?
No, that's what I thought you meant. So I did 3 pro shows in a row. Okay, and it's extreme dieting, extreme training. You know, you're sore all the time, your joints hurt. I'm 40 now, and it's like, you know, when I was younger, it was easier to recover, and now, you know, you can feel a lot more. You don't.
Right.
I didn't always want to wake up in the morning during this prep, and just get up and go. Like, there was a lot of times that I would just sit there and go, oh my God, another day of this. It's like Groundhog Day every day, you know, prepping for show after show, and extreme, you know, cardio, and whether it's just, you do like a lot of like high intensity interval training and heavy lifting, all of that, you know, when you have that going on, you don't always feel what you need to feel. And I think that these shows, competing itself in bodybuilding, there's nothing that felt like getting your eagle globe and anchor. I think like that whole accomplishment when you finish boot camp was incredible. It's just, it's self-discipline, and it teaches you that you can do anything you put your mind to, just like we were talking about in the beginning of the podcast. And I can say that the only thing that brings that same feeling of accomplishment is getting through these shows. And I don't usually do back-to-back shows, and as a pro, it's very taxing. I mean, we did like a show a week after the other show. I did a show in Savannah, then I did a show in Tampa the week later, and so that's like a double peak week, and it's very difficult. It's very hard on the system. And then I had another 6 weeks to wait to hold my peak and try to stay super lean to do another show, right?
That is very difficult to do. There's no doubt about it.
So difficult. I mean, there was points I didn't even want to do cardio, and I love cardio, and I love to train. I didn't want to go to the gym anymore. Like, I just didn't feel, I felt tired all the time. I felt like, you know, I mean, you just feel drained over time, and you start to lose the momentum and it's like, why am I doing this? When you go in, you're all like gung ho, and then, you know, there's days you feel great and days you feel like crap. But when you said that, I hadn't watched a Marine Corps video in the longest time, and it was the day before I left to go to Atlanta for the Chicago Pro, which is because of COVID, so they moved the Chicago Pro to Atlanta. And so I'm there, I'm doing the spin bike, and I remember I was in such pain, like I just didn't want to do this. I just wanted to get this over with. My body was just like, I was having digestive problems. Like, I was just going through it. So I was sitting on the bike, and I put on Marine Corps boot camp for, you know, the whole thing, like the graduation. And I had that going, and I'm talking like emotions just going through me. And I'm thinking, I'm doing this damn show, the Chicago Pro. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in Atlanta. I'm going to get this done with. I'm going to, you know, just freaking do it. Finish this bike. That's the last thing I have to do today. And I was watching that boot camp video on YouTube, and I was crying in the middle when the Eagle Globe and Anchor was like, I literally was crying. Somebody walked by, I'm like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And I remember, like, that was the only thing that could get me through, was to remember all what I put my body through in that 3-month period in boot camp, because it was very taxing, like very, very hard for most people to go through, you know, and it was a lot harder. I mean, somebody that was like in boot camp back in like the 60s, 70s, 80s will be like, oh, your boot camp was nothing, you know, but I could say now, you know, the early 2000s, 99 boot camp was harder than it is today, you know, so.
I love
But
that. I
yeah,
love that story. I love that story. That
yeah,
just shows your persistence and your dedication. A lot of people are missing that today, right? And we'll discuss that in a bit.
yeah.
So after the Marine Corps, you got out when you were 25 years old, right?
No, I got out
And
when I was 23. 23.
23? Okay,
Yeah.
so what happens from here now? Where does your life turn? Where does the Olympia come in? Where'd you go?
Okay, so I got out in 2003. I became a trainer at Bally's. I was training people on base, and I thought that that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
I was just in love with fitness so much and what it did for me and the discipline of the Marine Corps. And I was trying to put that into my clients, and I was gung ho. I went to school, got into doing real estate. I wanted to have like a real career set aside. Then I went to work for one of the top personal training companies in the United States,
Mhm.
the IFBB here in Tampa. I was the assistant sales manager there for a couple of years, and then I tried to get out of fitness completely because it was just burning me out. I still wanted to go to the gym. I
Really?
just didn't want to be a trainer, but I always had it as a side gig,
Right.
And when I was in the Marine Corps, first I got to backtrack. I got into bodybuilding. I did a couple shows when I was in, but of course I was just like this little tiny thing, and whatever. So I mean, I was like literally 112 pounds soaking wet, and I was a little like I was a sponge for knowledge. I just really wanted to learn it all. There wasn't much information back then. There wasn't coaches. There wasn't any kind of there was books, there was DVDs and
So
VCRs and stuff
who
like
were
that.
the individuals who helped you step on stage then?
I did it.
Was there anybody that helped motivate you? Say, hey, listen, I think you should do this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You would be really good.
There was guys on base that were bodybuilders. There was a few Marines that competed, and they said, you really should get into this. You have a good physique, and I was kind of insulted at first because I didn't want to look like a guy, and I didn't, really. I took it kind of wrong. I'm like, what are you trying to say here? They're like, well, you
That's
got calves, you got, you built your back. You really should try to do a bodybuilding show because you're super, like, you're into this. So they basically pushed me to do it. But I used to watch ESPN. I used to watch Corey Everson and Monica Brandt and all of them, do the
right.
Olympia and everything on TV when it was on TV. And it was really cool. But I just had no idea how that would ever kind of come and merge into my life now.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's really interesting how you just put that. You're like, oh, I don't want to do this. I mean, but you're working out
Yeah.
in the Marines, right? And you have to perform. Yeah. And at some point in time, they were like, some of these individuals like, well, you have a nice physique, but you're looking at it, you're saying, no, I'm a girl, I don't want to do this. But then you decided this is what I want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I have I have a performing background. So I think it's the whole process. It's the behind the scenes. It's the journey to get to the stage. It's
right.
That's what's way more rewarding than the actual trophy or the actual, I can't say the pro card isn't rewarding because that's a whole different change in your mindset. But when you first start competing, I think the trophy's great, but once it's done, it's like the whole journey was what made you feel this feeling of self-discipline and drive, and you're accomplishing a goal that you set your mind to do. And it's this physical thing, this tangible goal. I mean, you can actually see it in the mirror every day if you do it correctly. And it's fascinating to watch the body change. And it's like a work of art. Mm-hmm. That's what it's like to me. I find in every new vein, every new muscle, right. split to be incredible because most people can't see those things, and you don't have to kill yourself to get it either. That's the thing people don't understand. It's diet's very important, but so is your training, so is your sleep, so is your stress level. Those are very important things too.
You sound like me when I'm dealing with a patient because that's what I ask them, every single time. So what was your first show in? What category were you in? What was your first show? What was it like? What did you place?
Bodybuilding. It was fun. I did bodybuilding and I placed third, which was really crazy for my first show.
That's great.
And I was 21 years old. Yep.
And what was your most recent show? What did you category did you compete in? And what did you place? Figure.
Yep, I did figure, IFBB Pro Figure, Chicago Pro, and we had 48 girls. Everybody's trying to qualify for the Olympia. So we had back-to-back shows, and pro shows usually are not that stacked, but because of COVID this year, we had stacked classes. Like, it was just out of control,
right? The
amount of girls. So, the top 4 or 5 that were at Savannah kind of like trickled down to Tampa, which was the New York Pro. It's so confusing this year. Can we just skip to 2021?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So no, the New York Pro was in Tampa. So we did that show, and it's kind of there's different call outs. So I was kind of mid call outs, which was really good for this. The lineup that we had, the girls were just incredible at that level. And I've stayed pretty consistent through the whole line going through these shows. And yeah, I mean, my critiques were amazing. So it's just, you have a bunch of amazing physiques, a bunch of pro athletes up there. It's very hard to decipher what is top and what is, what they're looking for all around, because I won my pro card in physique, which is a step up from figure. It's more like the old school bodybuilding.
Right.
So, I've done figure. I did very well in figure too. So I just decided to see where I'd land this year because of COVID. I didn't feel like I was big enough for physique, but turns out that that's what everybody thinks that I should be in. My body fits into that category more because I do have very muscular legs, and so you kind of have to steer yourself in the direction that your body is built for. You can't just do figure because you want to do figure. And when you have these massive legs, and all the girls, they have great legs, they just don't have these calves that, my calves stand out a lot. So
is that your strong point? Is your calves? Is that your strong point? Is your calves your strong point?
Yeah, it really is. And I get so mad when people say, "Is it great calves?" I'm like, I know, but that's kind of it's a genetic thing in a way. I'm not saying it doesn't take work to get them, but they're more genetic. So,
what's your weakest body part? I always ask that question.
I mean, my upper body is small. Well, I don't want to say smaller because it's not really small, but they say, which is crazy to me, my lats need to come up. So my lower lats need to be wider. And I think my back is wide. And I'm a coach, so I can look at myself, and I coached myself into these 3 shows. So I did the full thing. I did everything from my nutrition to my training for these 3, which is a lot of people are very scared to do that. I wanted to do it because it's, it was a COVID year, and I just decided to take a chance and just do it for these shows this year. And I did very well doing it because I can take myself out of my body and basically critique myself as if I'm not myself, and not take it to heart, so I know where the lats need development. But I do feel like my back is wide, and yeah, so I mean, because I have a very wide rib cage, my lats don't, always flare out like they need to. So the upper lats are very big, but the lower lats is what makes you have that V taper. And against some of these girls, that have just a crazy small waist, so 19 inches, and then they flare out to lats that have the size of lats that I have to almost make myself a little bigger.
You have to look bigger, right? Sure.
Yeah. So
to compensate for that, sure.
It can also be body work. I could probably go to a chiropractor. I could probably go to, get some Grafton done to me and help me like spread more when I do my lat spread and everything. But
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
That's something I wouldn't have said was my weakness. But now I think that's definitely what they're telling me is my weaker point.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's get into now more meat and potatoes. We're in a pandemic right now. We got COVID. Right. A lot of negativity going on around that. How do you block that out? How do you block that out?
How did I block it out?
Yeah.
Well, in Florida, we don't really know it's got there. I mean, we have to wear masks into the store and everything, but like I forget about it a lot because, it's not as crazy as it is up north. I know what my clients are going through in Michigan and what they're going through in Chicago, which is crazy.
Right.
I feel for them up there. Oh my God. So, we have the gyms open. We don't have to wear a mask once you're in the gym. You have to walk in with it on, but then you can take it off, So I don't really that doesn't really affect me anymore. And when COVID was really prevalent here in like March, April, May, before they opened the gyms again, I was going to the park every day. I would go do my walks at the park. We have this Indian mound that's close to me. I would run that, do sprints up the mound. I would, run the stairs. I went on Facebook Marketplace. I was looking at weights. I was trying to get some stuff to, it was like this crazy time. And I would, meet friends at the park and just kind of like use your weights, you use my weights, and we just kind of share it.
Right.
But I'm lucky I have like that drive to keep going because it was not a very packed park, which is really sad. Like I saw a lot of people walking, but like I didn't see many people like training, and people just gave up a lot. And I didn't drink during COVID. I just, kind of like took myself to the park,
Well, I think it was very important. One of the things that are coming out of COVID, in my line of work and your line of work, is that you got to remain healthy. It's really important to be healthy. You want to be able to eat well. You want to be able to take the appropriate, vitamins and minerals. So you want to exercise because, everybody went crazy buying the middle of the store where all the cakes, candies, cookies are. On the outside, where you have more of the real food, and everybody was staying away from that. And then everybody bought toilet paper for some reason, which we still haven't quite figured out. And and it was a time to stay motivated as much as you possibly could. I know is that during this, I said to my wife, and I said to my son who's 12. We're going to be active, and we're not going to gain weight. We're not going to eat bad. We're not going to eat poorly. And I can't. I mean, I'm teaching nutrition at the graduate level. I mean, my students would just look at me and say, Dr. Dan, what are you doing? You gained 50 pounds over the last. So I started running a little bit more. I started working out. I was motivated because I didn't want to catch COVID. I wanted to be, because we're all going to be confronted with it. I wanted to be as healthy. How did you stay motivated through this? Because you did 3 shows in a row within a 6-week period of time, So what was your motivational factor?
Well, I'm telling you, so you have to start prep before a show. So Savannah was on August 29th. So that would mean I would need about 12 weeks of prep. So you have to kind of backtrack from August 29th. So we're talking June was when I started. Well, June is when like the gyms just opened back up. So I didn't have the heavy weights and I didn't have all the stuff I would normally have to prep at first. And I usually try to stay decent off season. Like you don't just build muscle in 3 months, So I didn't have the gym for a while, which is very frustrating. I used the bands and everything. And the motivation came from the fact that I wouldn't say like I'm superstitious at all, but, it was my 40th year, my 40th birthday this year. I was born in 80 and, my birthday is on 8/20. And I was like, oh yeah, it's going to be my birth month. my show is Savannah. And that's where I went,
Right.
you know, kind of was like in the Marine Corps in Savannah. It was like all this like meaningful thing. And I'm like, and COVID can go screw itself, you know, I'm just gonna
Right,
do the
right, right,
show
right.
and just do and get past it, even though COVID was, you know, so prevalent and people were dealing with that. I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna let this stop me. I'm not gonna
Right.
sit there and say that I can't get eggs and chicken and make it work because I'm gonna do it. You know, I'm gonna get
Right.
fish. I'm gonna fry my fish. I'm gonna not fry it, but cook it up
Well, you're not
and,
frying
you know,
it,
do my
okay?
whole.
You can't fry your fish. You got to broil
No, you can't.
it.
So, but you can, you know, it's like, so you can air fry it.
Yes, you
But
can.
and that's very good actually.
Yes,
But,
it is.
mhm. So I just, that was my motivation, is just to kind of like it's truly goal setting. I think when people don't have a goal, like actually written out, or it's something that they're
Right.
kind of subconsciously making happen as they write it on paper and make it a real, you know, tangible thing they have to accomplish. I think people get lost in it because it's just a thought. It's just a dream. It's just, you know, kind of something you're coming up with, but you're
Right.
never like fulfilling it because you're not really planning to accomplish it. I think that's
Right.
where people go wrong. Start the process, but you don't finish it because you don't actually know how to get to from A to B. You
Right.
know?
So how do you set your
So
goals?
that's what I do.
What do you
Huh?
do to set your goals? How do you set your goals? Because
I
a
take
lot of
a, I
people
have a,
set goals.
I have a, I'm old school with paper. So I write things with, you know, I write things out with pen and paper. I map things out for months ahead and I count backwards. So like I usually write like how
Right.
many days I have. And then I kind of structure that and do like a rough draft, an
Mm-hmm.
outline of exactly how it's going to go. And
Mm-hmm.
even if it doesn't go exactly that way, every day I don't have the stress of like scrambling to figure out what I'm going to do because I already have it written out. And I know that I'm going to accomplish this goal because I told myself I'm going to do it, you know.
Right.
And unless something drastic happens, nothing's going to get me off my path. Like that's how I function. That's how I
Right.
work. So
Yeah, I love that. So, you know, in order to do that, you have to have a high self-worth. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to have that
yeah,
confidence, right?
yeah.
Tell us about your self-worth and your confidence, because you can see it just oozing through every pore in your skin. It's like, you know, I have a goal. I'm going to set it. I'm going to have these little micro goals, and I'm going to crush it no matter what.
My biggest mistake in life was I was always a giver. I was always walked on, you know. I had friends that would walk on me because I was always trying to be a people pleaser and I was always trying to like just
Mm-hmm.
make people happy. But in the back of my mind, I had like this anxiety. It was just like this crazy anxiety I couldn't get past. And I was like, there's a reason why I'm feeling this. I don't know what it is. When I was always doing things for other people, but it wasn't getting reciprocated, right? So I realized that you have to pick and choose. Like if somebody's willing to help themselves, you can help them, you know, because they're probably intrinsically motivated somewhere. If they're down and out and it's just a one-time thing or twice, you know, they need help. But if it's back to back to back, they keep messing up, you know, and you're helping and you're putting out, you're trying to do everything you can to make them happy. I think that eats it away at your self-worth. And people don't realize when they say you put yourself first, that sounds selfish, but it's not. If you're looking at the right way, it just means that, you know, people have their own bullshit they're going through and you
That's right.
cannot control their bullshit, just like you cannot control yours. So if you try to fix them and you're not fixed yet or you're not whole,
Right.
you're just going to have this anxiety every day that's coming from nowhere. It's just because
Right.
you're setting yourself up for failure, and because your expectations of helping and fixing this person are going to, you know, make your life better or something subconsciously.
Right.
I think it's that's where people go wrong too. You know, that's definitely where self-worth comes from. It's
Right.
realizing that, you know, until I'm happy with what I'm doing,
Right.
and like I wake up every day with a smile on my face, if I don't feel that smile if I don't feel a reason to smile every day, I know that I'm not in the right spot.
Right.
And instead of swallowing that, I just take it and I go, something has to change, and I know now that if I have to walk away from somebody, I'm going to walk away.
Right. Because you have to take care of yourself, and you have to be
You have to
concerned
take
with
care of yourself.
Right. Now, you've said believe in your dreams and never give up, because you never know when it will all be worth the fight. Tell us a little bit about that statement. I love that statement. I'm sitting here and I'm saying I'm going to work this statement in no matter what, even if it's unrelated to what we're talking about, but it's related.
Yeah, no, it all, to me, it all means it's all part of the same type of mindset. It's just, whether you look at things in politics, anything like that, I think if you have value and you have, a good moral compass, if you treat people right, if you don't take people, if you don't take things for granted, if you don't try to take advantage of people, I feel that, good things come back to you. So I feel like when you go through trials and tribulations through your life, things aren't always going to go how you plan, but there's always a lesson in that. So I think that what I was trying to say in that bio is, you're going to go through hard times. You're going to go through times you might, not have the income. You might not have the support system. You might go through a breakup. You might have like death in the family, and then you're going to go through a period of mourning. And it doesn't matter if it's a breakup or a death or, you lose a job. Everything has a period of mourning, and then you go through anger and sadness, and then you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And if you have a goal and you go through these trials and tribulations and you still kind of stick to the goal and you get there and then finally accomplish it, I think that, like I said, the whole journey of these ups and downs, it all kind of makes sense at the end. And you're like, you can really, if you follow through with it, no matter what you go through in that process, you actually can really accomplish something great. It's just, it has to be, you have to have worth in yourself, though, to not let any distraction hinder you from following through. You just have to do it. And like I said, you're going to have ups and downs that have nothing to do with your goal,
Oh, I agree. And when you face adversity, it's really when you grow the
it's
most.
Facing adversity.
Right. And that's when you're growing the most, is when you have this adverse situation. Right. And it will show you what you can and cannot do in this lifetime, and you and I are living in parallel universes when it comes to that, because everybody has adversity no matter who they are. And I think today it's, that can-do attitude is missing at times, right? You and I have spoken about this. It's that can-do attitude. You want to go on, you want to go into the Marines. Here you are, like you said, you're this woman, you're from Pittsburgh, you like the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's okay. And next thing you know it, you have a boyfriend, and now you're in the Marines, and now you're in really one tough situation. Yeah, there's a lot of adversity. You're like, I'm going to do this. That fiery competitive
it was
spirit.
500 guys to one female.
So you were the only female.
I was one of the very few females on base, and it was hard because, you're kind of treated like a piece of meat, and you just don't. People go, "Oh, that's got to be great." I'm like, not at all. Like I got so sick of it, the attention, and it is what it is. I mean, you're a female. There's guys, they're gonna try to approach you. It's just. But when you're in it, the anxiety and and the aggression, you feel like, oh my God, leave me alone. You can't really verbalize it and make people understand it, because people will be like, well, you shouldn't have gone in the Marine Corps. There's a bunch of guys in the Marine Corps, but that wasn't my goal, to date guys in the Marine Corps when I went in.
Right.
So,
you wanted to be a Marine. It wasn't that you were gonna date or
marry
a Marine.
I didn't think about those things. Yeah. So the aftermath came from, seeing the crazy lifestyle that, a lot of Marines lived, and just military people go through, the infidelity. I'm just going to be real, like the infidelity and the dark side of it. And coming from a family that's tight knit, was never exposed to that type of mentality. And, you know, my parents raised me to, you know, be very picky and, you know, choose people correctly. Which is why I was going to marry my high school sweetheart, you know, but glad I didn't, because, you know, I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today either.
Right.
So,
There's always a trade-off. There's always a trade-off with some stuff.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a couple of questions about your training. When you're prepping for a show, how many days a week are you doing weights, and how many days are you doing cardio, and what is that like?
So for the most part, it's about 7 days a week cardio, probably 6 days a week training. And I was doing 2-a-days at one point, where I do morning cardio, whether it was high intensity interval training for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And then there'd be days I would do close to 50 minutes of like low intensity, steady state cardio. And then I would do a workout later in the day. You know, I would do one body part a day. And then I got to a point where I was doing, you know, glutes. I would do glute work every day, because it's very important in bodybuilding to have a really good glute hamstring tie-in. And, you know, you can never be good enough in the pro league, because the best of the best have the best glutes, the best back, you know, the best everything. So you have to kind of like measure up to that. So you're always pushing for greatness. And it's just, that's why it was so taxing on my body, you know, just, and it's really hard for me now. Like I'm like backing slowly down from it and trying to maintain a very healthy look, but a very lean look too. Like I don't want to, like off season, I try to stay very close to my show weight, not too close, maybe 10 pounds, 15 pounds over.
What is your show weight? What is your show weight?
I'm actually pretty heavy. I will probably weigh at 138 on stage, and I'm 5'4". I was
going to ask you, how tall are you? 5'4"?
Yeah, I'm pretty muscular for it, but I think a lot of the weight comes from my legs too, because you know, when I was younger, when I was really tiny, I was 125 on stage. So you know that, and I looked so tiny compared to how I look now. So it makes sense, you know, about 15-20 pounds of muscle I've gained. You know, my shoulders are pretty round, my back's wide, my glutes are developed now. They weren't back in the day. So, you know, the muscle I've made, and 20 years in the industry, I've put on a lot of mass, you know. It's been a long period of time, you know, time under tension, training. You know, I have giant sets. Some of my workouts are slow reps. Some of them are fast reps. Some of them are training like a track athlete. Some of them are training like, you know, I incorporate jumps and plyometric jumps and box jumps and all these different interval.
How many more years?
You know, I do.
How many more years do you want to compete?
Honestly, like I always tell people this: don't ever say you're going to retire from competition, because people compete in their 80s.
Interesting.
Yeah, they do. There's like an 80 or 70 plus category.
I think I'm going to have to compete in that.
You're not going to.
You have to train me. By the time I get there, I'll be 75 years old, because I'm pretty old at this point.
But you're not. But you know what's crazy? You're not going to be. But even still, like people that compete when they're in their 70s, I mean, you're not going to be like ultra competitive against somebody that's in their 20s, obviously, or
of
30s.
Course.
But it gives them a goal. You know, I think it's like this goal that people have that they want to achieve, and it gives them something to do. So for me, I won't put an age on that. Like I go from year to year, see how I feel each year. I do it more of a year thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't, like this year COVID happened. Okay. Next year I want to compete too, but maybe in 2022 I don't know. Right.
Yeah. So you got the fire in the belly to go for 2021. You want to get out there.
Yes. And you have to have the fire.
So tell me about your diet now, because our listening audience is gonna you know, they're gonna Google you, and they're gonna see your physique, and they're gonna say, wow, you know, this woman, you know, she's not eating, you know, bonbons or anything like that on the couch. But I do. Well, you do eat bonbons every third day, right? At 10 o'clock in the morning.
Well, actually, it's crazy. So, so because of the way I train really heavy, and my cardio, I push myself as if I was an athlete. Like, you know, when you train for like football practice, the football players, you know, they put themselves through very rigorous workouts and very high intensity cardio training, and stop, go. You know, it's a lot of like just like suicides and all that they do. Well, it's crazy. So like if you train that way, you allow yourself to burn more calories over time. And I have my metabolism's good enough where I have now the ability to have, like, I can have peanut butter. I do M&Ms. Like I shouldn't say this, but I had like a whole bag yesterday, like a family size bag.
A family size
bag. And I
melted
them.
And so it's like a Halloween-y type of a thing. You got the
M&Ms. But I mean, I had ice cream. I had ice cream 2 days before that, and I mixed in like sugar-free hot fudge, which I'll do, and like, you know, add like different stuff like that. Or I'll make like healthy desserts, like pumpkin muffins or pumpkin. Like I come up with these recipes all the time, and I've been putting them out there. I have pumpkin pudding. I can make any kind of muffin really healthy with protein powder.
Right.
Like I can make a strawberry cheesecake muffin. I have like all these different ways you can make a very low calorie, very tasty kind of muffin.
Right.
I've practiced making those over the years, so that's been my thing. And then, you know, but for me, I mean, I ate sushi last week. I had a whole bunch of sushi, like so much sushi. And
I like sushi myself, by the way.
Yeah, I don't really, like, I try to eat healthy through the day. You know, I'll try to stick with, you know, lean meats and vegetables and stuff like that. But I don't want to limit myself so much that I don't have any kind of enjoyment with food,
right.
Especially off season. I think that's where people go wrong, is they try to like maintain this super healthy diet. You know, some people have come from an eating disorder background where they can't have like, they can't even attempt to do it, because they're going to have like a binging episode, or, you know, they might become, you know, bulimic again, and they can't touch things because they're afraid they're going to have a relapse. And I know how to control portions. If I eat this, then tomorrow I'm not going to eat this. That's how I work. So.
Right. And, you know, I have a lot of patients that when they come in, they'll say, is this going to be a very restrictive diet? And I say, I really don't know until, you know, I do an exam on you. I see what's going on. Listen, if you're a type 2 diabetic, it may not be the best to have that ice cream right now. You know, so we may have to be, you know, we may have to be more strict. Or if you've had surgery, I had a patient yesterday and they have the band and so forth, and they have a tendency to gain weight. I said, you know, let's not talk about a cheat or a treat meal just yet. I said to the patient, I said, let's get you to lose some weight first, you know, in order for you to go that way, if you in fact decide and want to go that way. Because I have a lot of patients that'll say, you know what, I really feel good, and I had the ice cream, I didn't feel so good, I had a headache, I felt like I was underwater, I had that brain fog, and I don't want to do it right now. And that's okay too. Everybody's different when it comes to something along those lines. You know, I have, in my area, there are a lot of nutritionists, if you will, you know, when they talk about being strict, and then you see them out, they're eating wings with some beers and some scotch, and you sit there and say, you're not practicing what you're preaching, but I guess it sounds good in the commercial that you're trying to get, you know, clients coming back in. So, you know, you know what, I recommend more flexible dieting than I did in the past. Some former IFBB pro here in Monmouth County, she was telling me about how she approaches it, and it made sense to me. So sometimes, instead of binging on that cheesecake, if you have a little piece of it, and if you can get that little piece in and not go crazy, it may not, you know, it's not going to overwhelmingly destroy your figure. It's not going to kill your HbA1c and so forth. Right.
Of course not. that's when I describe to people what they don't, what the big picture is. And a lot of people don't think this way, because the people think that when they eat carbs and everything, that the calories are going to turn to fat overnight. And I explain resting metabolic rate, you know, how much, what you're expending, energy expenditure. So if you're at the gym training and you're burning, let's say you're doing crazy cardio in an hour, you burn 800 calories in an hour, and then during training you burn 350 calories. There you are, you're in a deficit already of over 1,100 calories.
Right,
okay,
right.
So you've burned that calories, plus your living expenditure is 1,000, maybe 200, depending on your height. So you have like 2,300 calories that you have expended in a day. And if you have a piece of cheesecake, it's not going to kill you unless you have a piece of cheesecake every night. That still might make you only gain a true pound of body fat in a week. Like, you're not going to gain a pound of body fat from a piece of cake. And people think that, and that makes me so angry, because I try to explain it over and over again. I'm like, please do not binge. I mean, please do not try to over exercise it off. Don't go crazy, getting upset with yourself. Don't stress over it.
Right.
Because you'll burn it off in 2 days. Just chill out.
You'll
and
get,
just
you'll
drink
get
more
rid
water.
of that. Right. Correct. And
Yeah.
I'm right. Talk to me
Yeah.
about sodium.
So sodium works with cortisol and stress hormones, and also sodium works with aldosterone. And what happens is when people stress out, they think that the cortisol is what's creating, extra weight, but it's actually the combination of hormones that are dumping in the system. And a lot of times aldosterone is the sodium, it balances sodium in your body. So if you don't eat a lot of salt and you start to eat salt, when you go to like a Chinese restaurant, you start to get like very puffy fingers. That comes from aldosterone. That's what happens.
Yes.
Also, when people do a diuretic, and they do a diuretic all week, and they're not drinking salt. I mean, they're not eating salt, or
Right.
they're drinking too much water, or drinking a lot of water, and they're not having any sodium, and the sodium imbalance happens, and they start to retain water. So same thing happens when you eat food. If you eat an excess of some sweet food that's probably got salt in it, your body's going to retain water, because for every gram of carbs it holds 3 grams of water. So that's like, those type of things people don't understand, they don't know. So as a coach myself, like, I explain these things to my clients so that they understand more, that it's not worth the panic, and there's no reason to panic, because their body's not going to go into this crazy, like, you're not going to gain fat from one day of eating bad. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen that way. It's physiologically impossible, biochemically impossible. We are literally 8 minutes away from our hour. This has gone so quick. This has gone so quick, and we're gonna have you back on, Kelly. At the beginning of the year, we'll talk about New Year's goals. I hate making New Year's goals. I don't like them, but we're gonna keep people on track, you and I, by doing that. So tell me, you're a coach now. Tell me about your clients. What types of clients do you have? I'm sure you have some pros. Do you have some, individuals who want to, contact you? They want to become more healthy. They want to build lean muscle mass. They want to decrease % body fat. What type of clients do you take on?
I take on everybody. I take on the average, person just wants to get in shape, that wants to be healthier. That's very easy. And then I have all the way to professional athletes. I have IFBB pros that work with me. I have men and women both, and I have coaches that I coach. And so I do the whole spectrum of everything. And, for me, it's very detailed. I'm very accessible. I think that's what happens with my business. That's why I've done so well over the years, because I am very in tune with each person. I understand what they're going through. I don't try to be too accessible all the time, but I am accessible enough where they never feel like I'm leaving them in the dark.
Right.
I don't want people texting me at 2 a.m. some question or saying, I just had ice cream, and I'm not going to answer your text, even if I read it, because it's not that big of a deal. Like, okay.
Yeah, you're not going to baby
and
them, right?
I've told them, I'm like, I'm not going to look at my phone at night. So you're going to wait till 7 or 8 a.m. when I look at my phone.
Maybe. I'll get back to you when I get the other text going.
Yeah, and if you've told me, if this is the 5th time in this week you've had ice cream, I'm probably going to fire you.
Oh my gosh, that's great. So we're almost done with our hour. This has been a lot of fun, and it's really gone very, very quickly. So how can individuals who want to train with you, how can they contact you?
They can go to my website. It's kellylynnfit.com. It's KELLYLYNNFIT.com. My Instagram is kellylynnfit_IFBB Pro. And everything that I have business-wise usually is Kelly Lynn Fit. So pretty easy to find me.
Excellent. And you know what? For our viewing audience out there, listen, I mean, I'm thinking about training with Kelly right now. I don't know. I mean, I'm pushing 60 years old. I think I want to bulk up a little bit more. I want that body fat to go down. I have a 12-year-old son, so I got to keep up with him.
Hey.
We ran the other day, Kelly, and he just smokes me every single time. My hamstrings are shot from years of football and basketball and track and all of that stuff. I don't know.
It's just atrophy. If your joints aren't hurting, it's definitely atrophy.
I like your approach. So for all of our listeners, please contact Kelly. See what she can do for you. We recommend her highly. So I'm thinking about training with her. So please give her a call and discuss, and she can help you out. So Kelly, thank you very much for being on.
Thank you so much for having me.
The show today. We're going to have you back on. It's kind of like, we're at our hour. We have to abruptly stop. That's the way I feel. And we're going to have you come on, and we're going to have to continue on with that. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
So all the listeners, thank you again for listening to us. We have the best of the best of the best. We have Kelly, and please go to YouTube and look at Suburban Wellness Group and subscribe so you don't miss this podcast or any of our podcasts. Until the next time, work out, call Kelly, and eat right. All right, everybody. Take care now. Have a great day.